Hi, I'm Katie, and welcome back to my channel. So, today I wanted to talk about journaling. And this is a topic that I think is really interesting because so many people want to start journaling, but they're nervous about doing it right, how to start, what they need, what they might do wrong. So, I just wanted to get into that today and talk about some different types of journaling and how to get into them. So, yeah, let's get into it. Just to be clear, there's absolutely no right or wrong way to start journaling. You could just pick up a journal, write whatever, even like random words, and you're journaling. So, I don't want to give the impression that there are steps to follow. So, this is just more for someone who's looking for steps because they just don't know where to start. So, yeah, any way you journal is completely fine. Okay, if you're overwhelmed, I would suggest starting by picking what kind of journaling is right for you. So there are lots of kinds, and I'll just go through four, starting with free form journaling, is what I call it, or stream of consciousness. So, this kind of journaling to me is where you open up your journal, you have your pen, and you don't have any prompts, you just write whatever comes to your mind. And it could be deep, or it could be like today I woke up, went to the bathroom, made coffee, and had lunch like later. So there's really no rules with freeform journaling or stream of consciousness. It's how it sounds. Anything that's in your head or that you want to write down, you write it. Or if you come up with a prompt in your head that you want to write, you just follow that. Oh my gosh. And there are pros and cons. Oh my gosh. Julie, I love you, but I really want to talk about journaling right now. Oh my gosh. Okay, he's just gonna sit here. Okay, so as I was saying, there are pros and cons to every type, I would say, and it kind of depends on what's the best fit for you. So, for stream of consciousness journaling, I would say it's a good fit for you if you want something that's low maintenance, where you don't have a lot of preparation to do, there's not a lot of pressure, and it's really flexible, and you don't even have to have a schedule. So, if you want something really easy, this is a good one. But also, besides it being easy, there's another pro is that it can often like uncover things that you're thinking about that you didn't even know you were. And this can be really helpful because it can explain like a bad mood, or you were just feeling like foggy and you didn't know why. And this happens to me all the time where I'll be writing and I'll start like basic, like today I woke up, went to class, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually I'll bring up something that I'm kind of upset about that I didn't even realize was so significant for me. And things just fall into place. So that is a huge pro of this kind of journaling is it can really help you understand like your inner like world and what's going on in your brain really well, especially if you're someone who sometimes kind of feels like at a loss for what you're thinking about, which happens to me a lot. So this is like not everybody feels this way, but for some people it's hard to know exactly what you're feeling, and I fall into this category sometimes where I don't like know what I'm feeling. And I'm like, I don't know why I feel weird. And so, yeah, this kind of journaling has really helped me there. So I always recommend this. The second type of journaling that you could choose is prompt journaling, which this is where you have some sort of prompt that tells you what you want to write about. And it could be like, write about a great memory you had, or write about your deepest fear, or write about something that's on your mind that's making you anxious. Anything like that. There's a million prompts. So, really, anything you could think of, you can find like a detailed prompt for that will really give you a place to jump off of. So, this is good for someone who like wants a really clear starting point and they want to like maybe even just like see the results right away because you can see the prompt, see what you wrote, and check it off like I did my journal. So that's good for you in that way. And it's also good if you really want to direct your mind to certain topics. So if you're like, I really want to explore this more in my journal, you can, and you don't want to just like do it, like make yourself in your mind, you can just find a prompt that fits it. And another benefit to this is that it could help you think about things you don't usually think about. So if you choose a prompt that's like, think about this thing that you like never thought about before, that can be really good for you to like explore a new area of your life, of your like feelings, of your experiences. And that's always valuable to like venture into new places with yourself. And the next type is actually art journaling. So, yeah, I don't know that everyone would consider this like typical journaling, and it might not come to your mind when you think, like, oh, I want to start journaling. But this one is an amazing way to journal. I know from personal experience, sometimes, I mean, this is like art journaling is what hits the spot because like I said, sometimes I don't know how I'm feeling, or like if you don't even know what you're thinking, or you're really overwhelmed or really anxious, it can feel really good to just let like whatever you want to draw just come out. And it can have meaning or it can't. Sometimes I've drawn things in my art journal, or really it's just like a book of like art pages. I don't really have like a specific journal, but you totally could. But and then I'll be like, "Oh, this represents this and this and this." And then other times it's just like geometric and I don't really know what represents, but I just know that I feel better at the end. So art journaling is really good. I would say that art journaling is a good choice for you if you feel like you're more creative and you really like no boundaries. Maybe you're someone who doesn't even like writing very much and you like just more want to like go with the flow and draw things, or if you feel like you're better at expressing yourself through art and not words. And this can also be good if you are in really high emotional distress. This isn't necessary. You could totally art journal without being in emotional distress. But I found that for me, this is what I go to when I like am too upset or too like disturbed to write. So this can be amazingly healing, and it's also great to look back on later, which I'll probably showcase a few of mine just to like give you an example. Yeah, so I love art journaling. Okay, so now that we've gone through the types of journaling and hopefully you've like picked one that works for you, we can move on to the second step of addressing any concerns you might have before starting. To begin to address the first one of feeling like you might do it wrong, like I said in the beginning, that's basically impossible. There's no way to journal wrong. And any like right idea of journaling is really just like come from like, I don't know, messages you've heard from friends, from TV shows, from society. And that's just not accurate. There's no right or wrong way to journal because the whole point of journaling is to help you. And so whatever feels right for you in that moment, which can change over the years, days, is totally fine. And to be honest, like just getting started at all is good enough. Even if you like pick the wrong type of journaling or you like do it once a month, like that's totally fine. And yeah, so they're just I understand the pressure, but please know that you don't have to feel that pressure because you can't really mess up. And it's meant to be like a release and something that makes you feel better, not something that stresses you out. So if it's stressing you out, I don't know, maybe like thinking about like why is this stressing me out? Is there a way I can make it easier on myself or anything like that? But just know you can't mess up. So I don't want that to hold you back from journaling. The second concern is like being concerned that someone will find your journal, maybe like read some private information or vulnerable things that you've written about your life, or secrets or things that you just generally don't want people to know, which is a very valid concern because it would feel violating of privacy to have someone read this depending on your thoughts. This varies for people. I personally like will probably like let my grandchildren read my journal when I'm older, even though it'll be It's not rainbows and fairy tales at all, but I feel like if I was like, I don't know, I've had some really dark moments. So for me, if I got to read like my grandma having experiences that I could relate to, I would appreciate that. So that's my thoughts, but it's not like I want like my random like friends reading my journal. That would feel pretty bad. I understand the concern about privacy. And at the same time, I do think you can work around it and find a way to keep your information safe and personal. My first thing, which this might not be the most reassuring, is that most people aren't out to read journals. And a lot of people, I would say, respect that it's personal. And also, like, I don't know about you, but I don't want to go read people's journals because I'd probably like find something confusing or read something about, like, probably not me, but there's just things I don't want to know about someone unless they want to share it with me. So there you go. But if you're in a situation where you're like, no, my family really will read my journal, or I like know the people in my life and they would be fine to read it, there's some tips I have for that. So if you are in a situation where you're like, girl, I can't rely on them not reading it, there are some things you can do. So one is you get like an old school locked journal where you just have the key. I mean, unless they're gonna get a lock cutter, it should be okay. But you could also go online and like there's an app called Evernote that I use sometimes with especially personal ones where it requires a password to get into your account. So I will just like type on my laptop or my iPad and journal through there. And I have like a separate like folder called journaling. And that way, unless someone knows my password, they can't get in. And other than that, there are other apps that are probably specifically made for journaling that are hard to get into that will protect your information. And the last is feeling like it might be too much work or you have to go all or nothing. Like with all things in life, a balance is good. So journal when you feel like it, don't journal when you don't feel like it. And hopefully for yourself, you can find the balance of like encouraging yourself to journal. Like sometimes, like maybe if you're feeling depressed, you kind of want to encourage yourself. I've been in this point, I don't want to assume for you, but where I'm like, I know I'm really don't want to do anything right now, but I will force myself to journal because I know it'll help me out. I think that's up to every individual to find that balance between self encouragement, but also if I don't feel like it, I'm not going to stress myself out. So, yeah, it's absolutely not 100% or 0%. It's wherever you feel comfortable, and there's no way that you need to do it. So, yeah. And also with your life circumstances, it can change. Like maybe there's a time when you have a lot of time or you have a lot of emotional energy to really think about things. And so you might journal a lot, maybe multiple times a day, maybe like once a week, who knows. And then there might be a time where maybe you're super focused on your school studies, and this has happened to me where I'm like, I'm just not really going to touch those things right now because I want to get these grades or I want to pump all these assignments out, and I'm just going to take a break on that. And that points I won't journal. So to be honest, I'm kind of in that spot. So I haven't journaled for about like 2 months, and then before that one journal I also waited like 2 months, and I'm like totally fine with that because it's really just when I need it, and right now I feel okay with just dipping my toe in whenever I feel like I have the energy. Yeah, I just like want everyone to be able to journal because it's so great for your health and it's helped me immensely. Sometimes I just need a way to get from therapy appointment to therapy appointment when I'm struggling really hard, and this is how I do it. So yeah, you might decide it's for you and you might decide it's not for you, but I wanted to just talk about how to get started, ways to make it easy for yourself, and dispel some common misconceptions about journaling. So I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, if you're someone who likes journaling, doesn't like journaling, thought the video was helpful, thought it was boring, whatever, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great week. Mwah.